Pilszcz. A small village in the southernmost part of Silesia is located almost directly on the Czech border. It has 750 residents and a problem. It's in a dead zone for mobile phone reception. Most of the locals have a cell phone, but all they ever see on the display is a message that the phone is seeking access to the net. So, can that be fixed? The 4 Polish service providers say they need a location at least 45 meters high in order to install a transmitter. Many were hoping they could use the border police's old radio tower, but it's only 42.5 meters high. Then there's the village church. It's more than 50 meters high, and installing the transmitter there would bring the congregation and the parish priest, Father Welte, 5,000 zlotys a year in additional income. But the bishop recently forbade any such measures. He says a house of God should not facilitate the transmission of worldly communications. Someone might say something sinful on the phone. The bishop isn't willing to discuss it, so the villagers are unable to persuade the priest.
People want me to beg the bishop, but I won't. I have nothing more to say. It's a legal directive from the bishopric. I can't install a transmitter contrary to the decision of my superior. It would violate the law.
But the head of the village council, Andrzej Taratuta, hasn't given up hope.
I'm praying for permission. Maybe they won't forget us sheep, as the Holy Scriptures put it. Maybe a destiny awaits us, purely technically and in cell phone terms.
Man ruft per telefon, aus dem Frisiersalon, Graffelbachonen, Mädchenmatronen.
For the moment, anyway, Pilszcz has a case of telephone frustration.
Oder am Bettchen, und beim Frisieren, alles per Telefon, das will der gute Ton. Man ruft mit Ziel und Zweck, man ruft jeden Dreh, Graffelbachonen, Mädchenmatronen, und noch am Bettchen, Telefon.
But then we get a tip. It is possible to make a cell phone call here.
You have to go outside the village, climb up the hill to the cemetery. There you have reception for sure.
That's true. If I want to make a call, I take my cell phone and a candle to the cemetery. I light the candle on my husband's grave, and I talk on the phone with my sister. There's no other choice.
And that's where we find a lot of the villagers, talking on the phone in the cemetery, in groups, in front of graves. Here, reception is good. And so communication goes on in Pilszcz.
It's a funny thing. On the radio, they poked fun at our one-horse town because we get reception only in the cemetery. It's funny, but it's reality. In the 21st century, and a whole village can't telephone anywhere except the cemetery. It's kind of sick.
Elżbieta Stankiewicz has come to make a few urgent calls. She brings flowers to ease her conscience, but then cheerfully makes her calls. Changing a dental appointment and chatting with her sister in Łódź. And also complaining about the lack of reception except in the cemetery. By the way, each villager has his favorite spot. It depends on their provider.
One person makes calls in the left-hand corner of the cemetery, another on the right. One stands behind the wall, another in front of it. If your provider is T-Mobile, go to the linden trees. Where I'm standing is good for PlusNet. Every child knows this.
And so, until the bishop changes his mind, Pilszcz remains in a cellular dead zone, except at the cemetery.